Sky Power Radio and TV Services Studios, West Yorkshire, Leeds, Stencil Mount. Welcome all on board our weekly civic education program. 31st of May 2025 at 17:33 UK, well, Gambian time. My name is Mustafa Jame at the State Signal from Studios, West Yorkshire, Leeds, Stencil Mount. Yo, assalamu alaikum bari ngolu ngal kontong mobe dawda ani be wato watito. Konton dro callers now bismillah na program min kaso jam loku ni yentembensi the civic education program. Al bari mal Mustafa Jame membe sirim program o kunna yentembe. Assalamu alaikum. Degul continue lending your features Sky Power Radio and TV services. It's a Ubuntu program, civic education program. And that's an Arid Mustafa Jamine Kalen feature Rajabi. Like you said, like we usually do every week, we do bring people we think they are of relevance to our topic title today, which is those local government, those governance begin at the grassroots and the power of the local councils in the Gambia. We've got the Lord Mayor of the Cardiff Municipal Council, Mr. Talib Bensouda, with us today. Before we go, we will start. We usually say ladies first, but they would always ladies first. I don't know. They will leave it to you. Where do we go?
No, let's bring the mayor first, our guest.
All right, no problem. Okay, Mr. Bensouda, welcome for this first time. Thank you for the time, energy, and effort took, for you to come and join us here. We would like to welcome you for the first time on here, and then thank you very much for taking the time to come and join us here. We leave you to say hello to our viewers and listeners at the minute. Mr. Bensouda, welcome on board. Cheers. Yeah, if you unmute yourself first, Mr. Bensouda, if you unmute yourself, you unmute your microphone.
Oh, sorry about that. Thank you, Mustafa. It's a pleasure to be here, see all the panel, my UDPers and all the other Gambians here. NPP, APRC. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Talib Ahmed Bensouda, and Mayor of KMC and the National Organizing Secretary, UDP.
Thank you, Mr. Bensouda.
Yeah, just saying thank you so much, Mayor Bensouda, for making time to be here with us. We really appreciate it, and we're really honored to have you. And as somebody as well working in running and managing our local government, which we have been seeing a lot of issues around local government and people's lack of understanding as well what local government is all about. And thank you so much for making the time to be here with us today. And I'm just saying hello to Suleiman Jeng. It's been a while. And Aziz as well. It's been a while. Bamba, it's been a while. Thank you guys for coming back and being here together. And thank you for always being here, trying to really make people understand, especially people who are really struggling with some of these issues. Gambia is very polluted at the moment. There's so much happening, so much being said. And having this program always help people to understand some of these basic things. And Mustafa, thank you so much for holding the fort, because every time it's very difficult to coordinate diasporians, a lot of things. We have so many things happening, running around, but you always keep the fort. And then also being live in the Gambia. We know internet is a challenge, but let's see how it goes with that. Thank you so much.
Much obliged. Thank you very much. Yes, yes. Aziz, alphabetically. Unmute, Aziz.
I want to say hi to the listeners and viewers, and I also want to join you in welcoming our Lord Mayor, who is our guest today, Lord Mayor of KMC, Talib Ahmed Bensouda. I'm happy to be here as one of the panelists to join my great fellows like Bamba Mas, Suleiman Jeng, and of course, Ndei Jobate and Yudi host. So I hope to have a very good program today. I just wanted to remind ourselves that preferably the language for this program should be in local language. So I recognize that, and just to remind everyone that once the program starts, we should try as much as possible to speak in local language so that the people on the ground, especially those that are not literate in English language, can hear us and understand. So thanks so much for having me today.
Thank you very much. Kadim.
Yeah, Mustafa, follow mbe new opportunity tala ka Gambia be konton mbela sunola menketa Miss Fat Sambati mbe ngala contribution o jele on social media nga jele fanan Gambia Talent Promotion ay katakul menu keje tain fele ka fanya ko ka min jodo atale mbala badingol be konton na sangola be Gambia Media Fraternity be konton na la sangola be Gambia muso be konton na la sangola ala programme lunka enjoy bakele semester avenue fenne me alon ko kumayata bake mba misla bakele Mustafa Fulanjango be duala pour alasi si jawnding alasi jannatul firdausi diala ala ta ala bon kono ala ma kala Gambia e kairoti ala mari ala katakolu kana ke kensanti dimba maranya menutu akoma ala ma soneala Mustafa o ko lambe lord me o kontonna bake mfamo barende wala mumba kontonna ayala wato men bebula kana ma ben fe jang pour nay kacha jambi UDP te jang mbukaw dol topo national punto patan kay etapal ko national pise patan mbukaw topo wol fananti jang jang Gambia la bijang mbe Gambia le banko la pole kachala anombe ndo kunyo kondo na bake na one and only sister Ndei Jubate the Iron Lady and also police keba fanamba kontonna menketa assist bojanti Mustafa Budumalo pombe de fanan konton no la bam because yalo ite fanan say ite fanan ke pus marala len ngajel nge sabanande bar me katande no fan bar mbela mo lal konton na bake atollel kumayata mbala daniro kala alla comment solu aning ali cool je nyame ndukare al se karin safe al ke bondi nyoto bara to le ko ma kamul moya ka bontol menu da kono wado do ba se kentol buka fu ku fam to al se karim ma ko yoto Mustafa mbe nyina konton di rodi la polo ko nyato do mande assalamu alaikum
Any baba ke Karim so.
Assalamu alaikum. Gannaaw bi ma sant yàlla julli si yenent bi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam maa ngi nuyu suñ gan bu tedda bi di Lord Mayor Bensouda di nuyu suñ déglukat yëpp ak ñoo xam ne ñoo seetaan parce que ñoo tax ñu fay teewu every weekend pour di waxtaan ak ñoom di fàttali wante gannaaw loolu maa ngi nuyu ajaratu Ndey di nuyu Mustafa ak suma boss Commander Bojang ak suma sometimes boss and brother Bamba Sering Mas gis naa tey ñu ma jéema gàttandu daal ne politique nekku fi waaye already I'm surrounded by 3 UDP militants so mënuma understand naka la politique di wara ñàkkate waaye I would try my best anyway Lord Mayor jërëjëf feel at home ñu ngi laa sant di la gërëm.
Thank you.
So Tedinaneka MPP just to support you.
Thank you very much. So jërëjëf thanks loolu. Alaji Baro fo mun di nekk anko namo ibn hadi Alaji Sedi Baro ma fanan konton na bake mala ba yemande mun dole kadum so jar kotoli to lokul do biye ke kalon bake. And then Lamin Salam Sanyan, thank you very much. Because this whole program coming beke atelaka beke audio ti and then aka share into all the groups. So Allah you dipin call for an asa can all group but the program ying ika beke audio till after the thing. We are streaming live on the Skype or radio audio platform and then streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok as well. So just to let you all know, but what platform will at this minute. Like be usually me had in Angafokong local languages also because the benefit for an audience mini along with the grassroots level in the interior akakumaya bakele isaje wolfana yalon dobije mol safoko meyo yanda kanana kulieto meyo yanda kanana sangoto meyo yanda meyo la palaso mene dala la put mole ya understand and then ni meyo ya kolongo sing aya sinne because ala do kolong na mara say dada ya dada la because of ligiyam la so pour nga wol be bondi nyoto akumata bage bi andu salo ya nyatiling nam fanang nimi la salibo la fanang kubuga salibo nimi la meyo salibo dila namra bo salibo dila la jande fanang barala na fo nying akabe Musa Njala na fo mi promote jan nim pareda is going to send a bill, he's going to foot that bill feel home, you know, because usually we do coming ke jan lunjeref moy fi watan lenjeref discussion la about the Gambia they could push and pull also legi mun nañu am lo xamne mun na nek heated why you know at the end of it luñ buga moy jem kanami Gambia or to understand, you know, the whole thing, you know, don't feel comfy with everything here. So in the first place, we'd like to know, Yen, local government. I know you are Talib, you are the municipal mayor of the Cardiff Municipal Council. Yen, Banfaso, what sort of powers have you got? Your power as a local council or as a local council. What are your powers?
Thank you, Mustafa. It's a very loaded question. I think our powers in normal circumstances, local governance is to the management of community resources. And that can range from anything from schools to health clinics to, you know, collecting taxes and developing amenities such as playgrounds. Is vast, And the definition is limited by restrictions placed in the Local Government Act. So in Gambia, we advocate for decentralization policy. Moi, pour nguur bu mag bi wàññi seen control pour allow local governance authorities more autonomy to manage local assets. When the Gambia is a highly centralized country, Belegi, for example, the education sector, for the most part, is almost managed entirely by the Ministry of Education. The health centers and hospitals, almost all of it is managed by the Ministry of Health. So whole revenue generation areas tamit, it is mostly dominated by Gambia Revenue Authority and government agencies. So in 2002, dañu design on lu ñu ooyee decentralization policy. My government bi dañu waroon a jël active steps for make sure ne empower nañ local councils by giving them the resources they need to take up some of these community issues and community assets or community aspirations. And it was never really implemented. So you see revenue sources, the reverse has happened actually. Many of revenue areas such as car park fees and road tax, such as hotel taxes, such as billboard taxes, livestock taxes, government of Kodelo to the central level. Because government of Gambia, the New Deal Bolbobari, so they are highly indebted. So because of this hunger for revenue, got a New Deal revenue Bobari from councils instead of the other way around. It should actually be the opposite. Because if you look at swing Natango around the world, you look at, for example, In America, where I visited, even room tax on hotels. So always a hotel bill, you will see a municipal tax. So always your utilities, you will see a municipal tax. So fee, we are staff for revenue. On top of that, subventions are never paid. They've never been paid. So councils are not subvented, even though mungsi loavi. You look at our human resources is still centralized. Swing liggéeykat are hired by government and can only be fired by government. So that's almost walking with your hands tied behind your back. So basically, local governments, as by law, come English law, it does allow us, in terms of how it's written, the management of local resources. In definition and in practice is the opposite. So, for example, I know Ndai said she's working for a local council. I'm sure they issue the building permits. If you wanted to build in a municipality, you should get a permit from the city council. Yunfi Lolo is centralized. You have to go to physical planning. So the rating of properties, which should be the authority of the municipality, Lulu is done by the Department of Lands, and it's done. It should be done every 5 years. They have not done it for 20 years. So basically, our role is dafa jaxasoo xam nga ñun suñu loi yi setuñ, and government really does not follow the law. And depuis jamono Jawara, there's been many amendments. Yaya Jammeh came through. He wanted to centralize powers. So therefore, one autonomy of councils. And this is why I continuously take them to court. Yobunal and Supreme Court, Nyari on I won. And I'm sure if I took them again, I'll win again. Because what the Constitution says, every region should have a highly autonomous council, meaning we should be almost independent. In practice, and with the amendments in the Local Government Act, we are not. So mayors are not executives. Mayors are a member of the council. So as a mayor, many people believe I have powers that I don't have. So I don't have the authority to bring my own cabinet. I don't have the authority to act without a council vote. So I am a member of the council technically that holds the administration to account, who I don't hire, but I am not an executive, which is actually the fajahaso. Because as a mayor, I should be the executive. The council should hold me to account, and I should be able to bring my team. I should be able to deliver and report to the council. So
Okay.
dafa jaxasoo, yeah.
Dafa jaxasoo. So pour leeral affaire bi, there is no autonomy. Amoon benn autonomy.
To a certain degree on our budgeting and on execution of our finances, we do. But problem be more, the people who are allowed to manage such budget are not hired by us. So technically, we don't. Come the family CEO has signing authority. Moi sign checks the council. Man, I cannot sign. The councillors cannot sign. So you are a CEO, but this is our budget. If he doesn't execute it properly, we cannot fire him. So if I cannot control small human resource, there's no way I can effectively control small financial resource. So I don't know if you see the problem.
Yeah. Okay, Hande.
Mayor, so come on, clarify a little bit. So you're in a nutshell, you are a mayor, and then sa staff yi ñi nga jël liggéey yow amuloo control si ñooñu yow mënuloo decide ñooñu whether sàcc nañ xaalis or sàcc nañ xaalis because gisoon nañ ay incidents before as well ndax xaalis bi liñ ko war a def nañ ko ndax luñ ko war a def nañ ko ba pare yow mënuloo leen daxa koo xam ne def na loo xam ne daal warut. Is that the case? That clarification?
Yeah, so basically, there's been that famous case in KMC with our former CEO. So I am a member of the council, I'm the chair. So when I detect nit sajana, I'm report, then my report to the council via a council meeting. My deliver report be, councillors deliberate, then you vote we want to move or start the process for Dahaki. Then now we have to write to a local government authority, local government service commission, which is under the ministry, report matter bi while we place that person on the administrative leave. So ñooñu ñoo decide suñu waxee ne kooku dafa dellu liggéey then dafa dellu liggéey. So in a position where we are in opposition, government do bugga def what we want because they look at it as a political battle. So right now we actually have 6 staff in Japa. Then you search $1 million last year. So we placed them on the administrative leave. We've written to the local government service commission. It's been 6 months down and they're at home and receiving full salary. So it's crazy.
Yeah, it is so affaire si dafa doy waar. I'm just taking it in English pour suñu déglukat yi. The fact ne yaa ngi toog as a mayor control pour ñi laa liggéeyal amuloo si dat doole boobu noonu. Government ñoo ko decide daal ne kii dafa war a dem or not. Even yow soo decide ne dafa war a dem ba léegi government bi ñoo war a wax loolu noonu ne dafa war a dem. Because nit ñi dañ dee question so many because commission bi dem around tamit nit ñi gis nañ li faa xew. And of course, this involves staff members. And li nit ñi dee laajte every time mooy ne lana tax daaxuñ leen where was the mayor? So léegi what the clarification bi ñoo jox léegi mooy ne yow amuloo doole bi even soo ko gisee sa bet put leen on the leave still ñoom dinañ toog foofu noonu daal di receive salary whilst government decide that dañ leen yóbbu ndax nañ leen daxa ndax duñ leen daxa is it situation boo xam ne government dina wax ne non duñ leen daxa dañ faa toogaat am nga fa power pour ne non duñ fi toog and they wouldn't sit there.
Let's go back to the case where we faced CEO that was reported to me for illegal activities. So buma compile documents yep dam ko yóbbu si council bi inform leen council bi were convinced ñu vote ne dañ ko war a daaxa but nañ ko suspend. So when we suspended her ñu vote ne dañoo recommend pour daaxa ko. We wrote to the ministry. Guy tontu ñu ne we don't have power to suspend her. So dafa war a dellu liggéey while ñoom ñu investigate. Halaatal, you said you caught a thief. Right? So basically, ñun ñu ne no. The process is if you find somebody wanting, you cannot take that person back. Nga dugal ko fu gëna mëna sàcce, especially now mi ngi am grievance. The responsible thing to do is to put them on administrative leave while you can investigate and then get dahako if you find her wanting. But they refuse. Lolo mo anyone push and pull. The guy send PIU officers to forcefully dugal ko si council. Understand? So effectively, lolo mo def moine as a mayor or as a council, government yi nga wax si staff yi ne ñun elect amuñ doole on the staff. Imagine staff bu ñu wara liggéeyal bu wara deliver stuff on our behalf. So staff became confused. Who is our boss? Is it the mayor and his councillors or the government? So can you imagine that kind of scenario as a council? The people are blaming us, holding us responsible to manage the council, and the staff are confused as to whether ñun or government sitting over there. So that was the first battle. What we said, we cannot lose that battle because if I lose one battle, more get my resign, right? Because then what's the point of being a mayor of a council where then staff do madigulu? I become a lame duck. So that's why we fought very hard to have our way and go to court, and we've won every court case when I'm in that matter. But what is crazy, Amoy, imagine you're Ninyangla elect to bring changes. As a mayor, you've gone to every house, every market campaign. Now you are not allowed to bring a team of qualified technicians. You're already, and then you have to find a way to work with them. If they refuse to work for you, because in our case, most of the people you inherit were from the APRC regime. They were already a lot of them were already anti-UDP, and a lot of them were political appointees. So a lot of them were even political office holders in the APRC apparatus, APRC office. For example, one of them was a regional campaign manager for APRC. Coco was working as the head of anti-littering. So if that person says, there's no way in chance I'm going to help UDP, do achieve dara, now I cannot get rid of that person. because I have to write to a third party who's opposed to me, and you have coalition like APRC, to ask them to fire this person. So imagine working in that kind of scenario. Mota you bari doing don't understand what you muna achieve in this past 5 years took extraordinary will and a fighting spirit. Or do you
Yeah,
muna
so
def dara?
mention nga si
Yeah,
sa wax ne
yeah,
you fought hard pour
yeah.
am nga
Mm,
establish the president ne yow yaay
mm,
mayor bi and
yeah,
yaa war a dogal. And
yeah,
you know, personally commend you for that courage. So
yeah.
léegi wax nga ne win nga in every aspect of that court. So one of the aspect was to dismiss the former CEO. Was that possible? Did
No,
you
so
win
that
that?
the court, what the court said was the councils have a high degree of autonomy. So at the end of the day, all staff should be under the control of the council as dictated in the act. But that doesn't still say whether we can fire people. It says while they're working for KMC, they should take direction from us. On the lolu ba legi, is like I said, that's a problem we have in law bi. Because tay su fekkee ne man maa la war a manage wax la looy def. So bañee pour liggéey, I should be able to fire you. But law bi allowed lolu ba legi. So what the court basically supported us in mooy ne we told her to go on leave. So mom, she has to go by and force. Court below la dogal because that's the law. But Daha court, that's the decision of government basically. So government instead of Daha court, then go transfer to another council to basically green light her do whatever she did at KMC. So she's been moved to Karawan area council.
And then dama doon bugg a laajte rek mayor naka la loolu mel pour yow parce que maa ngi toog yaa ngi explain this situation and man mënuma ko imagine sax in my own office here in Norway ne suma staff yi under me ñooñu awma benn doole si ñoom mënuma leen a wax dara because of course there are conflict daf dee ñëw and you have to stand up ne look this person mënuma liggéey moom move leen ko to another department or just na génna. And how difficult naka la métti woon pour yow foo xam ne yaa ngi toog amuloo yow nit ñee la fa teg yow nekkuloo ne dañ la employé bu nit yee la fa teg waaye yow amuloo doole pour nit ñi laa liggéeyal explanation yi nga jox sax nga inherit staff yoo xam ne liggéeykat yoo xam ne ñeneen sax xam naa because dégg nañ ko si TRC bi binda sax mënuñ ko ñeneen ñu ngi fa xamuñ sax lan la naka la ñoo deal with basic administrative thing ñoo xam ne ñu ngi incompetent ba pare ñoo xam ne sax ñu ngi fa nekk rek di jël salary without nothing and yow da nga bëgg a liggéey te bëgg a competent people waaye mënuloo leen a isi because ñi ko war a decide mooy nguur gi parce que central government das nguur gi ñoo war a decide yow kan nga war a liggéeyal kan nga war a employ koo war a daaxa how did you feel naka nga feel in
This is the most difficult thing I have ever done in my life by far. And dafa jël muñ bu bari. You have to be psychologically strong. At the end of the day, you da nga compete ak ñeneen am place bi, so you cannot leave it. That's a betrayal of the people. So you have to fight all the way through and fight B. Court sila boka, trying to amend the constitution sila boka. So you have to fight on multiple fronts. But it's very difficult. I'm not going to lie. You burn out very quickly. You're under psychological stress because yangi am this big vision enable. And the most important, even more than money, more the people. I mean, you need to in institutions. Human resource is more important than financial resource. Because so I'm a strong, capable people. Ñoom sax mën nañoo indi xaalis. So I will give you an example. So in deputy CEO bi, koko hire wuñ ko de, but he was there. When government was trying to force Senabu to come back, we told him administratively, dañ ko jox council resolution, which by law says you have to follow if the council resolves or it's a criminal act. So mom daf doon toppa luñ wax, government binda ko letter ne they should disobey us. And he said, no, I cannot disobey the council because this is what the law says. Guy Dahako, they fired him, So can you imagine in that kind of a scenario, how difficult it is to achieve anything, you know. So moo tax ma ne ñun with the little we've been able to do, and for the most part good name buñ mun a créer suñ boppa, it took a lot of leadership from naxante nit ñi, use a lot of soft power, try to inspire people to do the right thing, to also try to make people who ñu nekk APRC ak yeneen party to see me as a person who's for everybody, you know, the mayor of the people. I'm not partisan. I'm not trying to push some agenda other than to develop some municipality. So
yow
I
sa
had
councillors
to
yi
win as many people as possible.
Mustafa,
yow sa
I think you have to give us chance.
Yeah.
okay go on.
Yes. Lord Mayor, suma la déggee, I am kind of baffled parce que li nga ma wax in terms of source of revenue yi nga xam ne government dañ ko nangu ci municipalities yi boole ci the work environment and the mega resources bi nga am bugga naa nga share with us lan mooy sa source wala lan nga doon mun a def ba yaa ngi mun a achieve li ngay achieve parce que su fekkee ne léegi yow most of the revenue collection avenue si government dañ ko jël. Lord Mayor, are you there?
Yeah, the farm incoming call. No, I think he's got incoming call. You know, this is the case with the mobile phone.
Yeah. That's okay. That's all right. But I'm kind of surprised with all of this. No, why?
I feel so disappointed with the current government.
Lord Mayor, li ma doon wax bala affaire bi dem of mooy ne definitely giving li nga explain in terms of challenges yi nga xam ne municipal council bi mu ko hello yaa ngi ñuy dégg?
I think then we lost them.
Wow, you ngi lay dégg?
Okay, I'm call.
Yes.
Waaw li ma bëggoon a wax mooy su ma dégloo li nga wax yëpp ci jafe-jafe yi nga xam ne yooyu la sa municipality di face, especially in terms of revenue collection. Ak itam challenges yi nga xam ne yaa ngi ko am in terms of taking control of the municipality. And then ma gis itam li nga achieve. Dama munta understand what other source of revenue nga am pour muna achieve yi nga muna achieve things like library, arts yeeg yooyu. Waaye leneen ni itam li nga xam ne daf ma sok tuuti mooy ne ndax yow government li ñoo wax nii like liñ lay tere pour nga appoint somebody, is it in the law or is government? And after court bi, of course court bi lim explain right now so they understand naa ko bu baax literally dafa delloo doole bi nga xam ne moom lañ la xañoon moom la declare even though waxut ne mënuloo dismiss waaye di fact ne court bi wax na ne council moo war a control staff ani clearly pour man based on that ruling government léegi war nañoo am a provision bi leen di delloo seeni doole. Why the last thing is mënuma understand because maa ngi read the Local Government Act mu ngi ne the mayors and the chairpersons are elected by universal suffrage just like the president. You elect president bi pour mu run some affair. You elect mayor in under the same circumstances, but mayor do not have power. In fact, mayor is answerable to a minister. He has not been elected. The minister is not accountable to the people. Major example, Mes Binga Hamne, the former local government minister, definitely at the municipality. Nakalako the people or citizens in Nakalan policy for that because he's not up for election. So an unelected official is taking actions that is detriment to an elected official and there's no consequence. I have a problem with that.
It's a loaded question. Basically,
just to keep it short. So when the Supreme Court rules the staff of the council are under the council or under the control of the council, the act we already want. But like I said, the problem is if you're under my control, damla wara muna daha and dama wara muna hire.
Yeah.
So more than law be dafa need reform. So dañ dee wax ne all the time dañoo def reform pour settle law bi wante they never do. Gis nga one thing's for sure, if I, let's say, was with NPP, these reforms would have come. If I was with NPP, they'll probably agree pour mayor gonna am power pour council. There wouldn't even be this problem. But remember, there was a fight for political dominance, especially bu split be happening in 2019. ñu ngi jublu 2021, which Barrow was very he was not secure about that election, and KMC was one of the engines for in terms of UDP goodwill. So buguñ UDP am any goodwill, so anything they could do for create administrative deadlock, for create they use the law. So if they can, they get away with it. They go against the law. One day they did everything possible using what they call the Local Government Service Commission to use staff against us. So what they do is, for example, CEO more have access to the accounts. I, as mayor, cannot sign checks. I cannot do procurement. I don't have any executive authority. CEO do amna. Man, what I have is when the mamuna ñëw council be rally all the councillors, any resolution pour jéem control CEO bi. So even when you have CEO bu dem rogue gars yi di ko forcer pour mu ñëw. So of course ñoom dañoo am guns. They came with paramilitary. Forcer ko pour mu ñëw si office am. There was no furniture there. Gars yi jënal ko furniture, jënal ko iPhone. Pour basically usurp the council's authority pour jël suñ doole. So what I did was we wrote to all the banks pour génne signature from the accounts. So that's using an administrative tool pour moom bu mu am any power du mun a def dara. So banks yi yëpp génne signature, so she couldn't operate. Then you bind a memo to all the staff pour benn file bu mu dem office am. Even staff they were confused whether we have that power or we don't have that power. So basically, in a nutshell, I think the laws send boppa ñoo jaxasoo, and largely because of former President Jammeh, who did not work in a process, mom do they liggéey in a systematic manner. They've don't react to Mayor Lai Conte, who was seen to be an increasing political threat within the APRC for Yaya Jammeh. Mayor Lai Conte was becoming too popular. So what Yaya Jammeh did was he started amending the act to make mayors powerless. So no issue be started actually. But if you look at the original act in its format, raw format, during the PPP era, Mayor kept to hire his own director, his own CEO to fire them. And the amendments that followed, more butcher act. So act even goes against the spirit of the Constitution. So you are right. You, as mayors, we are elected at universal adult suffrage, meaning there's a lot of expectations about what we can do. But when it comes to the reality, so-called mayor section, local government act, it just mentions us twice in the whole act. One, the mayor is elected by universal adult suffrage. Mayor is the head of the council and is the whole political head of the region.
Okay, Mr. Bensouda, if I may ask you, is unity the concern here at your council? Is unity a concern?
No, it's not, and it's likely because of how I've led. So in my first term, it's not been. We were 12 UDP councillors and 7 outside, not 3 or 4 APRC.
I think there's a crackling noise somewhere. Can you hear the crackling noise?
Yes, there is a noise.
Yeah, I think your
Binga Duga say, that's the issue. You went out and came back and then restarted.
From me?
Mustafa, I think.
Mustafa, can you mute? Let's see if that's the problem. Just mute a second, we'll see.
I don't think so. I think it's... I think Mayo is your headphone or earpiece.
No, my headphone is not on.
Mustafa, can you mute again? Because I think when you muted, it looks like.
Okay. Okay, it's definitely Mustafa.
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, are you hearing us?
Yeah, okay. No, now, okay, what I was wondering is unity a concern here?
Is it still going on?
Yes, it's still going on. I think I think the mayor, maybe something in your connection.
Yeah, somewhere around yours,
Yeah, it's somewhere the connection.
Maybe try rejoining, but yeah, if you can try and join again, or
but this is so serious.
there was some crackling noise. I was just really
yeah.
Yes.
I think this is so
Yes,
serious.
okay.
It's
Let him
like
join because I'm
a
just
management
concerned.
without.
Yeah, he has no power.
Yes.
He has no
A
power. It looks
manager
like he has limited powers. But
I think
for many your chairman, you are just a chairman of the board. That's it. You're a power si jehna. You're just a chairman of the board, and then the board decides whatever has to happen. And even here, the board doesn't even decide because limo wane council be even to decide as a government mun reject that thing. So that mean power ne kufa at all. As a mayor, ninyela fatek. Why government may decide? Government may decide whether you're successful or not.
Is it going?
Okay. There's still the noise.
Was it me?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, now, yes.
Then switch off mobile B. Then go switch off completely. Then switch it back on.
I think Munge expose a bigger picture and a bigger problem in our governance.
Yeah.
Because topic we be talking about governance and Munge expose that loophole. Bena is like nyungi gisne executive base so you control it. Munna use excessive powers for entrench bopam for kind of neutralize any potential opposition.
Yes.
Which according to him Lola Ajamede because Filna Mayo Conte was a threat. So 2016 ñun xeex biñ xeex dañ yaakaaroon ne liñ dundoon ak Jammeh duñ ko dundaat ak Barrow. But unfortunately ñu ngi gis ne is the same dohin, is the same wahin, is the same toogaay.
Yeah.
So Lee has nothing to do with Aziz Bojang being the chair of UDP in Canada or Bamba being the chair of UDP in UK. So Lee is a national thing. Boo xam ne ñun ñëpp dañ war a booloo. Comme 2026 xam nga for me is a very decisive, is one of the most crucial elections in the history of the Gambia. Because ñu ngi si crossroad boo xam ne we need a defining factor boo xam ne kooku would take up the leadership to turn things around and bring that change being duga. Because it's like Lutanga and the local government boo xam ne is not autonomous. What's the point?
Even Suleiman, ñun fii Norway, I know in England is probably most similar, but in Norway here, local government, the family government, they do everything, education, health, and even loans. I mean, local government give mortgage within the council, in council fee. So the nga gis ne government lu mu dee am mooy dafa just joxe su budget bi jotee jox leen seen xaalis ne li leen seen xaalis. Recently, the crisis we had here in Norway mooy ne council then felt on the government has been just doyton and they had to do some cuts. And a lot of easy demonstration throughout, they even had to call for a public meeting. No way in the public meeting, the public come in with the authorities to discuss issues affect. Actually, there's a crisis. And they had to do that even in my council and many councils. We have to have a public meeting, and we had the public meeting where I have to discuss these things. And local government, look, budget be doing. And this was a fight for increased budget be. And then this has also implication for elections, because we are going into elections in September. So I cannot imagine over my head, even me sitting as a manager, they will give me the position because conflict of issues. How are you going to deal with those people? What is the whole role about it? So man, I believe as Mayor has said also, it's very political if we take it in a nutshell, because government is not interested to change it because it's a weapon they can use. And Suleiman Lingawani, 2016 is a do or die, because excess power of the executive need to be removed. And that's why one thing I kept on campaigning is the 2024 Barros draft should be thrown away. We won the 2022 draft. There is no compromise, no complicity, because we did that. The 1997 constitution, that's what we said. Everybody said that nañ leen bàyyi mu pass through, jox leen chance, suñ àggee parliament lañ ko fix. It didn't. We end up having what we have now. The same thing like this ñu ngee wax ne nañ bàyyi 2024 bi mu pass, then we discuss in parliament. No, it's not. There is no compromise anymore, because amatuñ time. We have gone through a lot. I mean, if you can imagine a whole council, KMC is huge. It's not council bundaw is very huge. So whole mayor muna toge si council bi munuta def staff is like your life source of everything. The success, the failure, all depend on it. And it's like it's even amazing to see the mayor have managed to do some work. I would have resigned. I would have just resigned, because there's no way you can be giving me a position. It's just like a chair. Even the chair of a board even have more powers than even the mayor. So it made good sense. And just to clarify, because you understand, because there's a lot of issues going on of commissions, what is coming out from the commissions, staff members, what they're doing. And of course, everything goes back to the mayor. To just be able to clarify, the powers are not there. Employ, fire, and people have to understand that this is a problem and we need to fix it. 2026, that's when we need to really, it's just a do or die to remove those excesses that Yaya has put on us, and this government is not interested in changing it because it fits them, it suits them for everything. Mayor, I just want to ask one question before, I'm sure maybe Bamba is dying with a question. Bamba, do you have a question before I jump into my question?
I think the mayor has got an incoming call.
We lost them. But I mean, generally, these are some of the challenges. What is even conflicting more in elect? People just the power and the mandate. But you have mandate because government be more decide or somebody. So you mayor why you are an employee of the government. Because categorically. Because elect lolu amatut ben solo important government be more elect, because ñoy decide, ñoy determine lu nga wara def. So this is absurd. It's really absurd, and it shows how dangerous this government is, as I always say, because so local government munta function niñ wara fonctionner deka bi du mëna dem, because gis nañ ne government bi munta yobu deka bi, and local government suñ function niñ warona function, maybe a lot of things should have been addressed by now. Ni contain na amna yu bari wéci nañ ko, amna yu bari change nañ ko, because lima wala fi fiñ tok ni local government ñoy def everything. They have the education, they have the health, they have everything. You have ñoo ko ron si biir town bi. They are accountable to the state, because every year ñu dem suñ KPI si lan lañ wax ne loolu la ñoo def, lan lañ achieve, lan ay challenge si, and how naka la government mëna helper more. Government distribute resources si ku nekk mu jox la sa xaalis ne li lay sa xaalis. And the fact that government joxuñ which I forget to ask the mayor, the government bi nañ leen day jox any fund, because dégg nañ ne léegi-léeg dañ dégg nit ñi wax ne joxuñ leen, jox nañ leen. Boobu tamit would be a question we would like to ask the mayor. The government dañ leen day jox xaalis.
Bamba, Karim. Yeah, we lost him. I think he's got incoming call. Hi, Bamba. Karim, you gone?
Hello?
Yes. Your line seems to be a very busy line, Mr.
Yeah.
Mr. Tambe.
Yeah, mayor's line is always busy. But
Yes.
they were saying at the latter part to ask whether they need subvention. No, we
Yes.
don't. So you law government should give us 25% of our development budget. Wow, so swing development budget is actually should be 60% of our general budget. So if it was, let's say, $100, $60 should go towards development. Out of that $60, $15 should be given to us by government. So they haven't been corrected. So the time we made so much noise. Then I think they just took $2 million and gave every council $2 million for new Nobi. But for example, KMC with our budget, swing amount we should have been about $50 million. You $2 million, which is not even 25% of our salary for 1 month. So then the for the year. So basically, like you perfectly said, I just heard your last deliberation. It's impossible to work in that environment. So I think either Mustafa or Aziz was asking about how was I able to build a library. So in my first term, having recognized these challenges.
No. My question was unity. Unity. Is it?
Wow. Okay. There was somebody who asked, how did you
I think
manage
it was
to get
Aziz. Aziz, yes.
Yeah.
Aziz.
Yes, that was me, because given all the challenges that you have and the
Right.
achievement you recorded, we want to know
Wow.
how you are able to survive and make all this.
Right. So in 2019, I'm a visit mayor of Freetown, who also is very similar to what I'm facing. She's a big city mayor with no powers, limited powers. Then you gain powers here. She's in opposition, seen by a threat by the government. So mom never create what they call the mayor's delivery unit. So it's basically an office she just created. Then they've been all the international organizations to get foreign expertise. Now those foreign experts will now work on grant funding, so the mayor's office can do some projects outside of the general administration of the council. So I copied that model. I wrote to a lot of institutions. So I got 4 experts. I got 2 from the Tony Blair Institute. I got 1 from University of Essex. I got 1 expert from Overseas Development Institute based in London. So 4 of them have been with me for the past 4 years. So basically, we wrote some grants and still a library project before Boka. Even there were some projects from the Bakote Dome side. I'm not being a grant on behalf of government, 48 million euros. But Bunjisene KMC was the promoter. Guy demand the KMC must be removed as the promoter or the endorse project. So we had to hand that project over to the Ministry of Finance. So that's how, for the most part, we have been able to get around some of these bottlenecks by direct funding from abroad and trying to implement projects.
Okay. How about unity in the council?
Unity is good. So, for example, Mansuma first time, there was 12 UDP, 4 APRC, and 3 DOI. But I have managed to bring YIP together for a single purpose when I developed KMC. So we came up with some ground rules. We don't allow partisan politic talks in the council or in any council forum. So I've disallowed all sort of partisan politics in council administration. So actually, I had a problem with some of my party members, my first time, because a lot of them had this expectation they could come and lal jotai campe in the council. Some of them had expectation that am liggéey bu leen ne, so we had to separate the politics from the institution. So party leader said that they use Lolo as an example when he talks about some of the good things UDP does. I've managed to create that separation. So Lolo Fatah, I won the hearts of the other councillors. and Dumalende deprived of any development in their ward. So
Okay,
I pushed the
right. That makes sense.
administration to give
That's
them their dues.
that crystal clear. But how about
Mustafa,
you yourself as the mayor?
can I quickly come in there? I just wanted to ask
Let me
Mayor.
just do one thing here,
Yeah.
Bamba. Let me just ask this one, and then you can come in.
Mustafa,
Hey, how, did you know?
you've asked many questions. Now you wait for my question. I insist.
No, Bamba, he did. Bamba, he
No,
did.
it is. Mustafa, it is.
No, this
Mayo,
is
jërëjëf man am nga li ma jaaxal moo di sen yoon you know, the roads. I heard the Minister of Works say yéen da ngeen promise waa KMC ne you're going to build roads. Up till today, you've not been able to. But I'm also aware ne you had some stumbling blocks from the ministry for giving you permits to be able to do the jobs that you want to do. What would be your message to the people, Nila Deglu, as to whether the minister is right, Minister Silla is right, you don't have the funds or you don't have the capability to construct the roads that you promised the people of KMC, or Minister Silla is just misinforming people using politics to gain political points.
So I think minister's comments dafa wone rek maturity minister bi benn, two, the professionalism of the office as a whole. Minister of Works, some ministerial posts should not be politicized. It should be a technical person. As a Ministry of Works, nga dégg ne local government authority mi ngi defar tali. I don't think you should make such political comments. Secondly, Minister B knows exactly what he's doing. What am we getting at the comment? When councils don't have road authorities, in KMC and other area councils, we don't have a local road authority. And only a road authority is authorized to construct roads. So because you am engineering, you am consultancy, you am consultants, you have the capacity. Before we started conceiving this project, then you approach NRA, the National Road Authority. We wrote to them, told them that you build roads. They agreed to partner with us. We set up a committee with them. Committee bobu nonu, even the first map NRA KMC logos are all on there. We identify roads, ñom ñoko design NRA with the engineering team. We got designed with the engineering team. You them on the evaluation and procurement.
well, he's got incoming call again.
I saw somebody also,
well, I
whilst the mayor had there's somebody
Can you hear
still discussion in the group. There is somebody saying that the comments that the act is clear from the onset. The council has full control
Thank
of its
you.
operation
Thank you.
and
Thank you.
led by
Thank
a chairman of a mayor. That is true, Lamin. Is it
Yes,
Lamin?
my question was meant to be the reason why I want to ask him this, it's because the unity side of it would drag him into, does he not know that this is what is there before he get into that position? And if he has the number, he should be able to challenge it with the number and then go to court so many times and then amend them. So that's the sort of thing, I'm dragging. I want to get him, but if he can get there, Mr. Bensouda, if you can use your laptop,
We
that
lost
would be
him.
very.
We lost the mayor.
Mustafa,
Yeah, I think
that is
We
not
lost the
possible.
mayor, Mustafa.
We lost Mayo. He might come back. But what Mustafa is saying is going to be very, very difficult because council does have bylaws, yes, but council cannot override decisions made at the Ministry of Local Government. Local
no,
Government Ministry has.
Bamba. The case here is the council, the chairman, has been voted in there. The councillors, they're voted in. People's power and people's voice, whatever legality it is, it has to be the people's voice first and people's power. Nothing should
But
override that. Whatever that is,
Mustafa,
it should be.
in that case, that's very contradictory.
But
Hello?
Mustafa, let me just clear. Okay, we have the mayor back. We have the mayor back.
Wow. So, sorry, I got a phone call. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Wow. So at the evaluation stage, we signed an MOU. The NRA will serve as the consultant for the project. NRA, National Road Authority. ñoom ñooy certify works yi. So bu ñu xedee procurement stage, NRA ñoo recommend the contractor. So we chose the contractor. It was approved by the Gambia Public Procurement Authority. Then we did a joint program where we laid the foundation stone between NRA, KMC, and all the stakeholders were involved. So fufula problem bi ñëwee. When it hit the media, it hit the news, Minister bi got involved, Ibrahim Silla. He went, put on his car, went all the way to NRA and told the director, lu tax ngeen sign this MOU with KMC. Yéen yaa leen nekk di ñu xeex politically. The director is called Sanya. So NRA to call you, they want the MOU back. They don't think they can no longer serve. They can no longer serve as a consultant for the project. So we were confused. We were like, what do you mean? No, they're so busy with yenen roads, etc. Government roads. So we sent 2 parliamentarians, Kenaki APRC, Suleiman Jamme, Kenenki Yaya Menteng Sanyang, because one of them sits on the local government select committee at Parliament. Kenenki sits on the infrastructure committee at Parliament. Guy visit NRA. When you visit the NRA, the deputy director told them basically, look, Minister Bimonyu, we can't work with you guys. We can't work with KMC. Ibrahim Asila Sibopa. But even more so, in Ibrahim Asila's words, he told the NRA director, if you allowed, in his words, if you allow that boy to build any roads, you're finished. No longer. So
But how do you interpret that? How do you interpret that, Mr. Bensouda? How do you interpret that?
Well, I think it's as clear as day.
You must have a meaning for that. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, if you allow Mayor Bensouda and co to build any roads, you're fired. So then we receive another communication from NRA. We are seeing things above surface. So guys, okay, now the only way we will allow you guys to build these roads, standard S because of this OIC, we're trying to create standards, etc. Like your roads that you want to build, you have to revisit the design. The roads have to be wider. They have to allocate for parking. They have to include street lights. You have to demolish homes. So basically, ñom design bu kay approve, they decided if they came back and told KMC any other thing, of course they know we are going to go to media and then everybody will know the ñom ñoo block project. So they wanted to block it administratively, meaning make it so expensive that KMC will be unable to build these roads. Because government be without those OIC funds, standard build. These roads they're building now has never been built in Gambia. It's because it's a project from foreign aid. One day NRA roads we build and these are just feeder roads, they are not highways. So basically, guide you build a turn a $300 million project to a $2 billion project, knowing that we can never build it. They don't subvent us, we're depending on local taxes. So basically, after that move, Minister Ibrahim Asida took an interview right away and made a declaration that KMC will not be able to build these roads. Right after that meeting with NRA to block us. So sometimes I doubt whether some of these people are even Gambians. Because how can you put politics so much ahead of you're not subventing us, you're not supporting us. We managed to find our own funding. So out of this 300 million, we have paid the contractor 40 million within the year. So what we started to do is the drains in Bakau, because the entire project is to rehabilitate 6 kilometers of drains in Bakau and to build 15 kilometers of roads within the municipality. If feeder roads that go
okay.
through every ward. Wow. So
Right.
the contractor tam then
What?
go all behind closed doors ne. So buy project, he will not get another government contract. And these are foreigners, Chinese like so. It's so terrible. So when somebody is Ibrahim Silasa, it's so amazing. This guy can look Gambian straight in the eye and be so dishonest, you know.
That's the saddest thing. Mustafa, just a minute quickly, because there's still this, it looks like people are not getting the explanation very clear. I'm seeing a lot of comments around the issue of still the powers of the mayor and the act itself. And Mayor, if I get it right, the act of course give you the powers, but then in the same act there is a clause that says that the ministry can approve, reject council decisions, they can suspend or dissolve councils, appoint inquiries into council's affairs, override council decision generally. So it's like giving you one power here in the act and then take it away as well at the same time.
So the act itself is a big document. So what it says, ACT starts by saying every region must have a council with a high degree of autonomy. It doesn't say we are autonomous. It says we have a high degree of autonomy. And that leaves a lot for interpretation. So it says every council must have a chief executive officer. And the chief executive officer is the chief accounting officer of the council, basically more account for all council funds. So the chief executive officer also is under the direction and control of its council. So basically, a council should tell a chief of your definitely. But then you go down to the hiring part. It says every council must have an establishment committee. An establishment committee on the hiring, firing, discipline, movement of staff should recommend to its local government service commission who make the decision on all staff hiring, firing, suspension, promotion. The local government service commission is appointed by the minister of local government. So now you see. So basically, on one hand, it's trying to say that we should be able to manage our staff, manage, but not hire and fire. On the other hand, it's saying we cannot discipline, we cannot promote, we cannot fire, we cannot hire our staff. How do you manage your staff without hiring them, firing them, promoting them, disciplining them? Those four things, more staff management. You know, so basically, the whole act is created to make local government authorities basically paralyzed. And I was telling a story about Lai Conte, who at the time Yaya Jammeh was trying to paralyze. So more a lot of these amendments, because local government service commission before Lai Conte used to be hired by the mayor. Every council danga am sa own local government service commission. But Yaya Jammeh time am garen ko amen now minister be more than they hire and they sit at the ministry. So effectively giving them control over your staff. You know.
Yes, thank you for that comment section. I'm sure this is clear now because there has been argument on the powers and the roles. So
All right.
I hope this clarified, and I'm sure Mustafa will cut that part as well so that people get it more clear. Those who
Okay,
have
that's fine. Yeah, I'll get that sorted. You know, someone is behind the scene recording. Okay, Mr. Benzura, what is your relationship with the federal government or the central government?
So man, I've tried to keep very disciplined relationship. Trying to join I've tried to maintain respect between us. One day our problem started in 2019 when digante UDP and NPP split. Everybody was supposed to choose sides. So man, since 2019, Nyungma court to basically switch sides and basically get everything I want in terms of powers instead of me. And of course, I did not get into politics to follow basically individuals. I came into politics to make a difference, but I came on a platform, and the platform is UDP. Whoever was in control of UDP at the time, that's the person I can follow because my platform bubble anyway. You know, so basically my refusal to just betray my party landed me in multiple fights with the government. They set 2 or 3 investigations for me personally. They always come up empty. Definitely special audit, definitely special inspection. They've set up a ministerial commission of inquiry, which I defeated at the High Court, because ministerial commission of inquiry, the purpose was they will say, man, I abuse my power. Of course, they will not find anything in terms of money. So the bëgg a wax ne rek numa génnee numa pusher pour CEO bi génn fa ne I exceeded the limits of my power. Therefore, the minister can remove me from office. Can you imagine, as an elected mayor? So clause boobu la guy don't utali. So we preempted them, and High Court be squashed commission boobu. So because that commission was squashed, they're going to wait for me at the end of my term. Dafa am lu tudda interim management committee. At the end of ñun suñ term, basically 3 months before our election, the new war vacate, the council is dissolved. None la daan xewee. The council is dissolved, we all vacate office. President bi dafa appoint what they call an interim management committee who will manage the council for 3 months while we go for election. So they were hoping ne su fekkee ne loolu am na, when I leave office dañoo door di génne, that interim management committee will start taking out bogus stories put damage my chances of re-election. So am nga Gambia secret amut. So we heard their plans, well aware. So we started a Supreme Court case in anticipation. A Supreme Court case be to declare the interim management committee as unconstitutional and illegal. Because how can you elect me and I'm buy office? It's like imagine President Barrow buy office 3 months before election, while you appoint it, while you're on a cards at Togo. So the judgment came in a time, it came December, the month we were supposed to leave office. Judgment be new and declared that portion of the law unconstitutional. That allowed us to stay in office. So they're going to set up a local government commission of inquiry. But the whole target was nañ ko def mu broad rek, so people don't feel like we're after talent. So let's just make it all councils. But the target was we. When the Yala def, they've seen so much rubbish done by their own staff all over different councils. And in fact, KMC is the only council, they haven't said a staff stole money. It's all about procedure or process. But these are their workers. These are their staff. These are people they hired. We've tried as much as possible to exercise oversight on them, but new staff see. So basically, this is the fight.
Summary: your relationship with the government is not cordial. It's gone again, and it's like there's some hitches there, interference, misunderstanding, no cooperation, and things of that nature with the central government.
But Mustafa, why are you insisting on this point? What's that?
I can't see you.
Okay, I mean, why are you insisting on this? It's even the blind man knows, or the deaf even know.
Yeah, but this is for clarity's sake and record's sake. But Aziz, for clarity and records.
Yes, but it's already on record. We've already seen it. I think.
Where?
I mean, obviously, everyone knows that the relationship between him and government is not cordial, and he's already explained how government is trying to block him. So for me, I don't know whether, it's a sticking point, but it's very obvious. It's very obvious. For me, what is still unimaginable is how, after all of this, government officials and MPP officials can still have the moral courage to hold the mayor accountable, to say that KMC is the dirtiest municipality, that KMC have not done anything. I think what Gambians should be doing is to ask government, how much resources have you given to KMC? And in fact, if we have a very smart government that is interested in developing the communities, they should work with local councils. Imagine today, if the Barrow government were to give funds to Mayor Talib Ahmed Bensouda to build roads. You think he will joke with it? He will not, because he knows his political survival depends on that. And that would have been a win both for Barrow and for the people. But instead, what they are doing, they are squeezing every resource out of this person, and yet standing and asking why he has not done anything. And Gambians even tend to believe in that. That's what baffles me.
Okay, you are
Yeah, I
saying
want
the
the mayor
squeezing.
also to clarify something about the revenue, because people nit ñi dañ dee wax ne waa ok government joxuñ leen waaye yéen a ngee collect xaalis si nit ñi
Exactly.
like li ngeen a collect si marché yooyu noonu. How much is that lu leen mun a solval yéen seen problems in doing things, or do you even have control over that?
Yeah. So government has talking points, but these are just political talking points. What can we say to tarnish? What can we say? But they've been saying this even before our re-election, because you don't halat. What can we say about Talib? They tried corruption angle, it didn't work, because so when ni dafa corrupt da nga mëna wax fan la corrupt ak lan la def o lan la jël. So if you can say that, and I used to come boldly on media and said, you're the government, I am corrupt, why don't you arrest me? I am an opposition, why are you talking? You should arrest me. So it's more because that's the fact. You're a government, you have a fraud squad, you're claiming that an opposition mayor is corrupt, you should not be talking about it, you should arrest them. So when that didn't work, okay, what can we say? Then nañ wax ne KMC dafa tilim rek. But KMC fii lañ dëkkoon balaa Mayor Bensouda, fii lañ dëkka during Mayor Bensouda. They know how it was before and they know how it is now. ñun balaa ñu ñëw, collection of waste was at 4%. 4%. KMC ñaari tractor la am. There's 500,000 residents. Every resident may generate 1 kilo of waste a day. That's 500,000 worth of waste kilos per day. So 500 tons every day of waste. Lola KMC they generate. When we came up with the Mbalit project, which they fought us from day one, dimbale wuñu moto, dimbale wuñu any source of waste collection vehicle, we managed to come up with our own scheme that brought 30 waste collection vehicles. We took waste collection from 4% to 65% within 4 years. So Niti KMC, everybody knows what KMC was before we came and what KMC is when we came. So it couldn't work in the re-election. I doubled my vote from 29,000 to 56,000. I increased the seats of UDP in the council from 12 to 15. So for us as politicians, that's all that matters. It doesn't matter can mo new radio, there or create talking points. What matters is what the people feel at the grassroots level. So right now we have the most waste collection equipment than any council in the country. In fact, so Yeren council, all their waste management vehicles, KMC doubles it. I don't know if you understand. You double all the councils in Gambia, so combiners and waste collection vehicles, we double it. And the interesting thing is they talk about KMC as if it's the only council in Gambia. NPP controls 4 councils. They have Basse Area Council, they have Janjambure Area Council, they have Kerawan Area Council. What are those councils doing? That's what people forget about.
Okay, Mr. Bensouda.
Pusta amuñ ko, Basse amuñ tractor sax.
Okay, if I may ask,
in Gambia, I just wanted to address the comment about when they say KMC is dirty. If you go now from Bara to Basse, Tambasansa, and back to Bansang, you will see that the whole country is full of dumps. The whole country is full of litter. Gambia more tilim as a country. And that says more about the Ministry of Environment than any council. So what does the NEA do? What is the Ministry of Environment doing? Ubi Office BOS, they built it for $3 million. But what have they actually done in terms of environmental protection and cleaning of the environment? So I think that's the real question.
Okay, thank you. Sol, yang points, honorable, yang points. Okay, how do you feel, Mr. Bensouda? How do you feel? Do you feel targeted?
Of course, all the time.
What makes you feel targeted? Why and how? Targeted by who, why, and how?
I just don't feel it. I know it. I know I'm targeted by government.
By who?
All aspects of government, from the security side to the administrative side to the political side.
Why?
Because I am a pillar. I am a pillar in the opposition. My downfall is important in their eyes to make the opposition weak. Remember, I am not just the mayor of the most strategic municipality, but also I'm the national organizing secretary of my party and the chairman of campaign, and of course a big contributor and donor to my party.
Then, Mr. Bensouda, Mayor, I just want to ask, that takes me now to we are going into Suleiman's area now, going to do the political aspect of things. That takes me to the issue that people are talking about. You are a potential candidate. You are interested, in fact, to 2026 to stand for election.
Well, I think it depends on what happens with the party leader. We have to listen to him. We respect him. We want to know what his desire is first. We just don't see him as a leader, but we see him as an inspirational figure and a father figure. So dañ ko dee xaar daal suñ kilifa la sa kilifa danga koo xaar nga déglu ko. So he's saying that flag bearership is a process, and at that point in time the party will decide, and we respect that. So I think every young person, you know, pumps and brakes. We are the obvious ones as mayors who could potentially have a trajectory for new rise in office. But I can assure you, there's 100 people probably thinking, okay, if Dabo doesn't come, they might take their shot, and it's democracy. It's normal.
Okay.
So
are you
basically,
are you interested in that position?
No, as far as the party process has not started, and as far as we don't know what the aspirations of the party leader is at this point in time, I cannot answer that.
Oh, you cannot answer that on this point in time. Okay, but if I may put this across, I've got this audio or video message that came across to say that it's confirmed that lawyer Hussein Daba would stand 2026. That message come from Dr. Lamin Mane and Larry Sise. They got this message video that went. I got the video evidence to say that Hussein Daba would stand. Your thoughts on that? Would you still stand if it does?
No, so the only person who can say whether lawyer Hussein Dabo will stand or not is lawyer Hussein Dabo. I don't think, if you know the party leader, he doesn't use messengers or agents. If that is his desire, he will announce it. But what he's told me, what he's told everybody in the party is the party has a process, and at that time, that process should go normally.
I think Yangi avoid question B. The question is you've got intention. Are you going to contest whether
yes.
Dabo Tahana or not? So we need clarification on that.
Thank you.
So I think it's one thing I've made clear is Dabo is going for the flag bearer of UDP. I'm not going for the flag bearer of UDP. We made that very clear. But it's something that we are trying to avoid in our party, because we see it's a contentious issue. It is creating a lot of unnecessary distraction and division when everybody should be focused on the incompetence of the Gambia government and the mismanagement of NPP resources.
All of you know what's to do what's to do no popular moko de
bulla reak wax nak fi nek Suleiman
Assis
you are being unfair now.
Assis
you are being unfair, Assis.
Suma problème ak yow mooy ne yow dang dee bugga ñu neutral waaye su UDP amee a point dang dee bugga ñu amee close up, and that is not fair because
it is not.
It's not. Xam nga nañ jox waa ji mu because xam nga Gambians are interested. Because man, I wrote a lot about him out there. And then Karamba Ture Munema, look, most of these things you're talking about, call the man himself and speak to him. Because he's the right person that can, tell you some of these things. And Mayo is here, he can bear me weakness. I've tried him several times, I've texted. And last week he called, and then he said, "Well, he's sorry, business calls." He reached out, which I appreciated. Why he's here now? Don't make me lose that opportunity to ask him my questions. All of you
Yes, so
wasu dofe,
yes.
wasu dofe, no bu wer moko dega. Fog na understand galulu. So yangi ne sabir wax because ñun ñëpp ay kilifa lañ ay mag lañ ne lawyer Darboe su taxawee doo taxaw. In other words, yaa ñu wax li nga bàyyi ci gannaaw mooy ne lawyer Darboe su taxaw di nga taxaw. Is that correct?
Well, at that point in time, we'll answer that question.
Okay. I respect your answer.
Yes, yes. And
Well, I'm
Mayor,
not happy
I
with
just
the
have,
answer, but it's okay.
yeah, I mean, yeah, we respect that stand. But I just have one question, because you've talked about the wanga you is a lesson. Lana is the biggest lesson as a leader with your leadership skills as a leader leading KMC. Lana is the biggest lesson you would want to share with the Gambian people.
The biggest lesson, I think, as a leader is 90% of things you hear are probably not the truth. And 90% of the things you see are probably as not as you think they are. And in every scenario, there's 1,000 truths, and every truth is probably valid. Because basically, in a nutshell, leadership is about managing interests, and people's interests are not always aligned. So just a time, being patient, and asking is very important. A scenario is recently come Serakunda market, that push and pull on. Many people wanted me to
I'm coming to
intervene
that, yes.
immediately. They wanted me to intervene immediately and choose a side or doggle without even understanding the issues. But if you listen and take your time to both sides, then every side is speaking their truth. So, so to be patient and taking your time is very important in these positions. And you never know whether you're doing the right thing. So going by your conviction is very important.
Okay,
So
Mr. Bensouda, if I may ask, the current state of affairs at the Serekunda market, which
Right.
is the shop owners and then the wanted, Tobaski is approaching, Munge Jegesi, Dikmalsi. What happened? What went wrong?
So it's a long-standing issue, and people like to make it bigger than it is. But bena konya rek finde oye guigi.
Oh yeah, I know that.
The contentious area is finyo oye guigi. Ñu nekk ci biir marché bi ak ñu nekk ci kaw tali bi. So I think both are valid points. On the ñun, we always side with the shopkeepers because ñoom ñoo am the legitimate space, ñoom ñoo nekk di fay taxes, ñoom ñoo nekk di fay licenses, ñoom ñoo nekk di fay luwaas, and kuy jaay ci tali is a privilege because tali du place yi jaay. So it's a matter of market committee bi ñuñ elect Serekunda ñoom ñoo nekk kilifa marché bi ñoo waroon a make sure there's a consultation on the ñoom seen boppa ñoo doon xeex. That's why I was extremely disappointed. So the other issue, ñoom seen boppa, they've overstayed their welcome in terms of they should have gone for election 2 years ago as per their constitution. So because of loolu tam am na yeneen issue, they don't have the respect of the vendors of the market. So many things went wrong, and dafa nekk a boiling issue that went out of hand. Man, I had a reliance on the standing committee of KMC to resolve matter. But I quickly learned in some issues, you as the mayor have to take the bull by the horn, which I acknowledge. So basically, the problem the police are not enforcing. This is the Gambia police force. I'm gonna problem bi Serekunda market si bopam. Police yi dañu am interest ci wanteer. So
How?
lii moo wane Serekunda marché si bopam.
Wow.
I learned this through an interview. The police themselves were organizing the wanted, which is unheard of. So
Okay.
so
So the
basically,
Gambia police, let's make this very clear. The Gambia
yeah,
police, they am
yeah.
interest in one terabui or
Well,
Serekunda market.
not the Gambia police, individuals. I'm gonna do Nakut police force be as an
Okay,
institution
let's
or
put it
an
this way. The
organization.
individual Sukadefe, IGP Muna legally, you can hear this,
Well, he must have had it
some
because,
individuals in the Gambia police,
yeah. Well, he's probably had it because I was
some
on West
individuals
Coast
in the
Radio,
Gambia police, they have interest in one area.
certain individuals. So I was on West Coast Radio. Man, Peter Gomez said this to me. I learned this through Peter Gomez. And I did my consultation and investigations, and I found that an aspect of it is true. Mooy ne dafa am individual police you they operate si biir marché bi who are not helping things because they also have an interest in the wanted. So Peter Gomez told me, Mayor, Luther Dolan they organize wanted. Manako, well, the market committee said they don't want it. Minema bot si korite bu romba, the Gambia police force ñoo doon dogal ni ñi place di ko jaay. And I was shocked. So Buma Delo si council bi, I verified that it is indeed true. So problem bi moy ñaaka buña loi and the enforcers of laws yi agenda yi dañu bari. Serakunda KMC ñaakut place in terms of market space. We all Joshua amna market bu feesu. Ibo Town amna market bu feesu. London Corner feesu. Latrikunda Jaman feesu. Talinding feesu. Serakunda si bopam si biir marché bi feesut. So the problem is people want to come out in the street. The market wants to meet the customer instead of the customer going into the market. So over their dead body, lolu du xew. Ken du taxaw ci tali bi disrupt customers from going inside the market. So ñom dañoo make sure ne wante du am ci tali bi. But it's
So
just
here
lack
I'll
of
quickly comment regarding the police
enforcement.
from my past experience.
Yeah,
Time I remember when I was at headquarters, 13 Baji.
yeah,
I think
yeah.
he was in operations, but I think he was responsible for KMC. So I
Mhm.
remember I was attached at mobile traffic. Then I
Yeah.
went out with him to for that street, going to Serekunda Garas at Dibakunda end. So it's the police responsibility to ensure the Amga streets are not congested so that traffic can flow easily. So under Nagmom Fufu, and he was clearing. And I remember when I was in Banjul police headquarters also, Jamme Konta was the officer commanding Banjul division. And then he was supervising the one tier in Banjul itself. While policy, their responsibility was to ensure there is easy flow of traffic and I'm going to send presence the far kind of stop shoplifters here stealings agioi. Why for the police to be directly involved in allocating places, Lolo is news to me. That has never happened when I was there, and I don't think as is also would recollect
Yeah.
any period in his service when the police were directly involved. So I
So
can tell you in a
yeah,
Lisu Haware House,
yeah.
I can definitely say that the IGP is not aware of this. I would be
No,
very
no. So it's not.
surprised.
So it's not the police
Uh,
as an institution. And
yeah,
according to Yunsuin investigation, it's happened for the first time.
I'm
This
the
correct.
I'm the
Correct.
Nyinde were
Buroma.
bad cows. So they get bad cows in the service. My officers
Yeah.
Why
here
else
have no.
Sol did it? Why Sol? Bad
uh,
cows, see policy. Why can you blame? You need to get rid of them bad
No,
cows,
why you
because
need to report these people? It's the public's duty to report these people. Understand? Come talib limdef. Government bange wunyar lohomi. Move people, them si kotsi. So the civilians need to get these people, you report them. There is a video we must send on a couple of years ago where in Hamga, in Kenya, police officers, this anti-crime living, then them in Mufti. Ñu dem di travel around the road. Police officers ñu xam ne ñu ngi stop nit ñi di jël xaalis. Ñu leen a arrest di génne seen lifin am nga and prosecute them and get rid of them. So policy can do that. Why civilians also need to support, the police administration to identify these criminals. For instance, that police officer ko xam ne was involved in the dog ticket si marché bi di joxe place. Yow bokkuloo si council bi. Why would you do that? Xaalis boobu fan la moo dem? They need to report these people. And so frequently police admin we fail to take action, then you have definitely police administration be send lohong chiboka. But if you don't report them, yeah, council will be because Tariq is made aware of this. That was last year. So this year, then say by hell, if it happens
No,
again.
it was not last year. It was not last year. It was this.
See,
that's when we got the
record.
Wow, see where record. So we basically asked the market manager.
So they can do anything and everything.
Lord Mayor, I think when it comes to the police, already man gisna fu problem bineka. In my humble view, problem be lies with again clarity, because so they give police the to make regulations within the market area. Clarity more amut. When it comes to the markets, it's the responsibility of the local government. Police Jafe should work with the council. Come to the council, Gisne. Jafe Bilangis, we are recommending this, but they cannot even do things on their own.
Exactly.
So really, Lolu is showing a lack of clarity. I'm not very no policy di def ci marché sa du sen liggéey. Wala they can only do it when requested by the council. Pour ne dimbali len ñu ci li. Bokk na ci sax li tax ñu wara dolel local council police. Dañ leen wara jox powers, because xam nga the amount of energy and resources bi police di spend ci marché yi di hulok jigéen ñi mënon nañ ko spend elsewhere, whilst ñu dolel the local councils. Why man, so my major question here is going to go back a little bit political. Whether you tahaunga or not, in the event we have a UDP government, what are the top priorities that you would like to see as regards to local governance? What would be your priority? Whether you are the president or whether, what if a UDP government is there? What agenda will you push to strengthen the local government? Remember, Amna Kumane, policies in Hamne, they are not tested, seems to be the best than the ones that are being tested. We UDP have promised a lot. We've criticized this government a lot. And we should always be mindful that if we come to government, we're going to be held account to the same standards.
Number one that should be tackled in local governance is the law. So the reform is very important. Okay. Number two that should be tackled in local governance is resources. So government should make available more taxes, utility tax, hotel room tax. There's more revenue sources, and definitely pay subventions. Government should budget by population size, by performance, KPIs, like they said, how to increase subventions towards local governments to increase their resource base. Then with that, government namuna tana certain community services that they will decentralize and devolve from the local, so from the central government, give more responsibility to the local government, so they can focus on bigger issues. And lastly, government should increase the number of local government authorities. Gambia, set it up. There's just too few local government authorities. There's just 8. So whole region mo ambena local. So local government authorities should follow towns and communities and not just be on political demarcation. So every area, for example, so whole LRR can have 2 local government authorities because there's actually 2 different communities. There's the Kiangs area and there's the Jara area. You look at, let's say, North Bank, Farafenye Amna, Kerawan Amna, Bara Amna, and also to ensure people pay property tax by creating addressing systems and financial regulation that gets everybody sort of banking. everybody identified and banking the little money they have. So
Mayor Dogu Maladi, yang may wali governments wara def. What would a UDP government do? In specific terms,
well,
if we come to power,
basically these
are
are my
the things
ideas
that you would push for.
Right. These are my ideas for if UDP was in control.
Good.
So for example, because xam nga ñun suñ towns yi dafa dooree benn kër or benn village mu grow into a town boobu mu war a grow into a city with a council. So council soo xoolee for example Dakar am nga di main council bu nekk ville wante Dakar city itself has a lot of smaller councils, so there should be more local government councils. Some are smaller than others. Some can come together and form a bigger council. But pour your representation, because Gambia, there's many communities that don't even feel the presence of councils, because council be different distant. Council be from Mecca. So for example, a good example is Birkama Area Council, is in Birkama. So somebody in Gunjur or somebody in Kalaji, so for them to actually feel the presence of the council will be very, very, very difficult. So I'm councillor of Sanyang, more responsible for a large area, including Tanje, including Tujereng, these are big areas for one council. So there must be more representation. I'm a democracy, you have to increase representation. Wow, so I feel that there should be also more area councils to better serve direct needs of the people. So the social benefits, councils are giving so many social services and benefits that one wouldn't imagine, from health to mental health to accommodation to all of those things. And you need to be very close to the people.
Do your council do them? Do you development?
No, we can't. I mean, the resource base is not there. The provisions in the law are not there. I mean, you put the fertilizer, Holland Minister Lumowa. So imagine soon to go on housing. I mean, it will be a war.
Anyway, this is an opportunity for us link up with Ney, at least move to in love with.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So land management, councils can you believe we don't have zoning powers? I mean, land management powers. We cannot issue permits. Zone B zone bale. We cannot control more bill land. Just factory body community. It's so crazy.
Yeah, here is very controlled, actually. Yeah. Especially land issue, it's really controlled by the council. Yeah. And what I mean with this small, because like I just fear, man, I live in North Drafolo, more the main council be. But then you have the smaller one, Upogo, Langhus, but Funeka amna service, like Upogo amna and clinics and lopitanis and schools and things. Each of them have them, but then of course the central council is like no follow who look at it. But then of course government, as I said, gives subsidies because I'm not sure if council even make business. I don't think so, because I think it would be illegal in Norway if you're seen as conflict of interest, usually because they're very clear about those two things. But then I pay my tax in my council, because then my tax go to my council. So it's very decentralized as well with the taxing system. Even though central, they collect central. But Mayor Man, my last question would be your vision for Carnifing, because I know at some point, I think I heard you saying this will be your last term, if I'm right.
Yeah.
You understand it again. So what would be your vision for Carnifing? A nice vision for Carnifing and Nakalalo fit in the national conversations about development. A nice vision be, even though you are going to leave, you said that at some point. But yeah.
Yeah, so even before I became mayor, my vision for Carnifing was it should be a hub, because KMC Moi Jumba Higambia, it should have a very vibrant society, good quality of life. And we've tried in many elements. Building first municipal library, and you should go in there, it's quite standard. We've built 7 municipal parks. We've increased the number of markets. The institution itself is a service-driven institution from a political entity, time of a political house. You'll go in there, you'll find a professional working environment, people trying to figure out how to provide services. Introduce geographical information systems. Now we can see the municipality at a GPS level trying to manage services. Like I said, waste collection at the household level. So I think for the most part, we've achieved at least the direction where the municipality should be heading. At this point in time, lu des national government dafa war intentional about how they view local government as part of their vision. Because Monday, I can only push so far local vision without it being part of a larger national strategy. So, guy, anyone in NDP in a national development plan, we were all stakeholders. Part of the NDP was to bring government reforms to make councils more responsive. Councils have delivered more services in education and health. I wonder it's never been implemented. So basically, my vision more in a KMC and other councils should be able to provide the most basic social services, education, health, mental health, parks and recreation, um, not so much infrastructure, but at least the social services. Because Gambia, time we have a HIV prevalence that's going higher. Nobody's really tackling it. So STDs is an issue, underage pregnancy is an issue, mental health is an issue, drug use and abuse is an issue. Youths in Yoganabari, they're 70%. A lot of them are unskilled and without work. How do these people become responsible adults? So councils, then you are more say in trade skills, etc. So in December, about I'm going to launch a mayor's legacy goal, and this is to create an incubator, business incubator, to have youths go through this business incubator and start small businesses with seed capital. So, like I said, at a smaller level, we are trying to get closer to this vision. And the more and more I am realizing all power is concentrated at the central government and especially the presidency. Mother Barrow is very reluctant for the 2020 draft to be implemented. Because it doesn't president's powers and gives more powers to institutions. So he doesn't want that. Mother in a fight to maintain the 1997. So I think Gambia as a country is a very strategic location. It is has the most navigable river in Africa. It is a very good time zone, has a strategic port. Gambia hobla waraneka, basically. And I think that was Jawara's plan at the end of his era. Gambia should have been an education hub, tourism hub, financial hub. We should not really have factories, man gomuma lolu, because deka bi dafa tuti land barewut, we will destroy our environment. Ñun lu ñu wara def is invest in our people to be high quality citizens, delivering services not just to our country but to the sub-region. So I think that still can be achieved, and it will need a very strong government and all hands on deck. The need a lot of heavy lifting. Wanted poor also to institute democratic principles, because one of the biggest challenges of any leader more to leave. And the only way a leader can leave is to make sure dugal na two-term limit in their fourth year, or the likelihood is they will not want to leave by their 10th year, i.e. Barrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And also to be very independent as well, because Yunsun Council is the opposition, but that doesn't stop government from giving, because that's the law. They have to
right.
every budget then you allocate.
Okay, Mr.
Yeah.
I
Bensouda,
think
thank you
what
for
I
your
would say
time.
is like
You
from
know,
this discussion and a lot that has been going on in this country recently. Deka bi dafa need a leader bo hamne is not only resilient and
thank you.
proactive, but a leader bo hamne is unifying. A leader
Yeah.
bo hamne is willing to combat, corruption from the top, not from the bottom. A leader bo hamne is prepared to strengthen, and give more autonomy to our public institutions, such
Yeah.
as the local council. So for that reason, Gambia then need to be very mindful as to how and who they should choose. Because in most cases, so said laws in elections, uh, generally, Gambians then they vote on sentiments instead of on programs and policies. So it is about time that we put that sentiment aside and look at programs and policies and the integrity of the leaders, their capabilities, new vote lane in. You just don't vote someone else because I don't like Talib. I have to put Assis Bojan there, even though I know and Assis knows he cannot, lead that country to salvation or to the promised land. But just because I don't like Assis, dina kumplo ak Bamba ak Mustafa you vote against Ndeye because Ndeye mu ngi support Talib. Because at the end of the day, Dekabesu delo ganao ñun ñëppay sona directly and indirectly, especially ñun ñi nekk in the diaspora. Because danga gis ne it's like the number of calls you get a day from family and friends ñu xam ne they requesting for financial support. Su fekkoon ne amoon nañ njiit boo xam ne comme li Taliba invest na in the human capital, nit ñi am at least an equal opportunity to develop themselves. Nikon don't rely on people outside or even on loans or grants from, the West for Numuna Topoto Sunbopa. Because we have the resources, we have the natural resources. Why managing those resources, harnessing them is what we lack, and that is leadership. Buganing a leader bo hamne also in 2026, that leader's present and voice should be with the people, because the is in terms of national crisis, when everybody needs that leadership, presence and voice for reassuring, it doesn't come. And once it is there, it is either below expectation or it kind of aggravate the situation in a way more harmony. It's not what is expected of a leader. So as a result, I'm not campaigning because they campaign at UDP. So it's like when I write
Aziz kontaan.
I understand. When I come out and say things, mangi campaign at UDP because mangi akarne na UDP suñu wine nañ ma def si dara. But again, this was even 2001. I remember Bima nekon si service Bima under Dabo. There was that rumor saying, "Well, Dabo Suwine, I would have been the IGP." So, Manilen, where is this coming from? Man suma bugon neka IGP or buga lifin. Dama dem dogo si gana baro. I could do that. Like most of them nañ fofu dogo nañ be en place. What will
Sol
stop me
sol
from
sol
showing them dogo?
balaa ngaa egga foofu ñun ñëpp xam nañ ne
Eh?
time yi Baba Jobe that time bi nga seefoon Dabo loolu moo tax ñu ngi wax loolu waaye it's okay loolu passé na bi nga
No,
seefoon Dabo.
honestly, that's not the thing. Because now Linde
Okay papa
Amwene,
léegi
when I come out and talk about some of the failures of Barrow, mange campaign at UDP or UDP don't they will not even accept you and get so and so forth.
yeah
So when I
that's normal
hear
that's a
this thing, I
Gambian
just laugh
waaw
because
loolu is
I'm
ku
gonna
Gambian.
liye munge wone lack of political awareness, because for them it is UDP, it is NPP, it is DDC, it is DOI. And Gambia is nowhere to be seen. Like Nico Mayor be mentioning in the Local Government Act, how can you mention the mayor only twice and in very insignificant positions?
Okay, Honorable Saul. Léegi li ñoo def
Yes.
mooy Talib xam naa ne he's been very patient. Amaat na beneen incoming call. He's been very patient with us, although xam nga bëgguñ ko keep here that waaye léegi li ñoo def mooy Talib balaa ñu laa bàyyi or give you final balaa nga am sa final thoughts mooy man suma question bi this one if you can summarize to me ñaar la pregnant not pregnant why xam nga lii yëpp mu ngi xew all this is happening all these difficulties is happening and what do you think is your main challenge or what are some of your difficulties li nga xam ne texa lañ ak loolu problème bi naka lañ ko mën a saafara how do we resolve this the way forward all this problem how do we resolve it you think
You mean in the country?
yeah in the country yeah about your council and in the country.
Well, the country, I think Suleiman Wanako, the country lacks leadership. I think even for people who are against UDP, everybody agrees on one thing. Gambia is without leadership.
And so whole President Baronum de operator is like a president who's letting his government run on autopilot. Minister Buneka Minge def lu ko ne, every government department is sort of setting their own priorities. There's no consequence for poor service or lack of service. There's no KPIs, there's no reviews. There's basically a country just that's operating without no sense of direction. So
a failed government,
every
what do you say?
Yeah, I don't even think it's a government. A government has to govern. Gambia government is not governing. They are not creating laws. They are not enforcing laws. They are not creating regulation or policy. They are not looking at reforms to improve efficiency. They are not guiding society. Gambia ni nyange reyante, ni nyange sagante, ni nyange def lu len ne. There's no consequence. You know, dafa melni dega bo amul kilifa. You know, so
One word
basically,
for
I think that is the biggest
president.
thing, yeah.
One word for the current president. One word for the current president.
One word after the current president. I think I have more than one word for him, but
okay. Say as many as you can.
2 terms. Yeah, 2 terms. Let him quit. Barrow has served his purpose. Barrow was brought to get rid of a dictator, and to be honest, he served his purpose. Repeated dictatorship, in democracy, alhamdulillah. One day, his purpose has been served. You know, so he 2 terms, na retire mu nopaleku, mu dugal constitution with a set 2-term limit. He will be remembered. No matter how individuals view him, he will be remembered in history as the president who brought a new constitution and a 2-term limit. One day, he's not capable of governing. He's not a leader. He served his purpose. Yeah.
Thank you. Your final thoughts before we go.
Oh, you mean me? Yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate this program, and I do apologize. I know you have been a bit frustrated getting to me. I apologize. It's a combination of things which we can talk about off air, but I really value every Gambian, especially those in the diaspora, as an immense contribution. Because is what's running the country, frankly. It's not government taxes, it's not the local economy. You're putting in almost $1 billion of remittance. Luluming account for almost 50% of our national GDP. And all is because of you guys. So then you want to funka, then you want to respect, then you want your right to vote, right to have a say. And I do dare say you need positions in the parliament, just like Senegal, to represent the diaspora. So I do appreciate you guys individually. New York.
Yes, the calls.
If you can decline that incoming, that would be marvelous.
Yeah. Young Madiga.
Incoming.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you got an incoming call there, yes, Mr.
Yeah, I got an incoming call. So to keep it short, I appreciate you guys for giving the diaspora a voice, and I appreciate you guys for also giving us a voice.
Yes,
without you guys, we cannot communicate with the diaspora.
Yes.
So I appreciate this time. Thank you so much. Hello?
Well, I think we lost you there. Mustafa,
can you hear me?
Yes, we are hearing you. I think we lost Mustafa. Aziz, would you say your
last?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Bensouda. Okay, Aziz, your thoughts? Final thoughts?
Dama buga gërëm di Lord Mayor. Waxtaan bi neex na.
Yes, you can hear.
Why?
Aziz, your final thoughts?
Yes. Lord Mayor, maa ngi lay gërëm di la sant ci time bi nga jël pour ñëw waxtaan ak ñun. Li ma gën a neex mooy dal bi nga dal wàcce sa boppa speak to the issues, even though politician nga, why at least trying as much as possible pour banya just attack the opposition like we used to see in others. Li ma gën a neex sax mooy gërëm nga fi Baro wane ne definitely bu fi jógee itam dina fi bàyyi woy bu rafet donte ne andu ñok moom lii laa expect ne ñi ne ci nguur gi wala ci yeneen parti bu ñëwee nii lañ war a waxee ak respect xam ne wuuteeg xalaat du bañante loolu laa gis ci yow te loolu dama ko rafetlu torop maa ngi lay ñaanal yàlla continuer di la aar waaye itam di la guide ba fi nga bugg a jëm nga egga fa di ñaan itam ñun ñii nekk fii xëy na dégg la bariwuñ maxaama waaye am na tuuti luñ dese ci suñu gafa yoo xam ne xëy na boo leen ñu taalalee seen loxo mun nañ cee weccoo xalaat bu demee ni ndey as you can already see xam nga si so connected to local governments in Norway. Suleiman Jeng have a wealth of resources. Ngalla bu fekkee ne di nga am time reach out to some of these people parce que dina am lu ñu mun a contribute am na loo xam ne wax nga ko te amuñu time trop pour waxtaan ci mooy zoning. Zoning has been a problem te congestion yi ñu am yépp zoning moo ko waral even the establishment of the markets niñ ñu bindoo xam nga doo jël marché teg ko ci kaw highway bi mun naa nekk sa si highway bi waaye main entrance bi mun nañ ko engineer in a way boo xam ne it will be off the highway nga xam ne yooyu yëpp dina mun a am local government itam security ak yooyu yëpp these are things yoo xam ne ñun ku demee ni Suleiman am na ci that expertise nga la reach out to them ngeen liggéey li ma bugg a daanelee mooy di ñaan government bi ne leen am nañ opportunity bu baax pour mun a saaf nit ñi through the local government bu ñu seet kan moo occupy the local government tey OIC projects yooyu ñuy deliver su fekkoon ne dañ ko jaarale ci council bi they will have value for their money te du tee dinañ am seeni tur kon lii opportunity la maa ngi all the Barrow administration the Ministry of Works the Ministry of Local Government pour ñu open up and work with the local councils parce que gis nga tey soo joxoon suñ leen joxoon resources comme ni ma ko waxee tey yow Barrow bu la joxoon resources pour nga liggéey doo ko foye parce que dina xam ne yow political life is on it te loolu bu succeedee Barrow dafay jël crédit nit ñi am ci interest waaye su fekkee ne everything ñu ngi koy gisee ni politics is very unfortunate ngalla bu la yàlla mayee ba nga ñëw ci doole bul faate yooyu man lay ñaanal fi nga bugg a dem yaa ko xam yal na la fa yàlla yóbbu waaye bu la yàlla joxee réew mi bul faate local council si parce que already yow yaa ngi daj li nga xam ne loolu la nguur gi di def di la gërëm di la sant thank you so much.
Aziz, you preempted something here. Yaa ngi insinuate, why nonetheless ñëpp ay mag lañ fi understand nañ sa wax bi waaye amul problème talib yaa ngi ree waaye yow xam nga lu moo ba pare police bi xam nga Aziz dafa fekkee jamono Jawara Jaaya Jammeh jamono he was a senior police officer ci jamono yëpp waaye amul problème man understand na léegi fu mu nekk nii okay Sol your thoughts.
My thoughts.
Your final thoughts, that's right.
My thoughts mooy ne xam nga as doomi réew dañu war a gis ne réew mi suñ réew la gaal gi si suuxee ñun ñëppay suuxandoor te ñi ci dee gën a sonna mooy mag ñi jigéen ñi ak ndaw ñi so su ko defee mooy suñ maam yi suñ jabar yi suñ rakka yi suñ yaay yi suñ doom yi so ñun dañ leen war a jox réew boo xam ne dinañu gërëm dinañu santa waaye waruñoo bàyyee xale yi réew moo xam ne dañoo xalaat naka la ñooy defaree lii fan la ñu amee time bi resources yi ak yooyu te loolu yëpp niñ ko defee mooy ñu tànn njiit bu baax parce que sooy tànn njiit da ngaa tànn njiit bu baax because xale mun naa nekk kilifa mag mun naa nekk kilifa so kilifa nag nekkul ne just because yaa ngi jiite ay group of people so kilifa dafa nekk nit koo xam ne dafa jub kilifa dafa war a nekk nit koo xam ne dafa am kàddu kilifa dafa war a nekk nit koo xam ne dafa ñeme dégga kilifa dafa war a nekk nit koo xam ne ragalut kilifa dafa war a nekk nit koo xam ne dafa am yërmande kilifa dafay jubal jub di jubante ba pare gannaaw loolu war na xam na understand naa ne suñu dëkk bi diine bi am na fa solo waaye dañ dee wax ne yàlla de tànn buur waaye musuma gis even Saudi Arabia sax fu malayka yi wàccee ñu ne nit ñi dem leen toog te ñun ñoo wàcca ñu electal leen seen njiit amut so nit ñee génna ñu elect te benn malayka du taxawa yow si line bi di la deene votalal Daabu o votalal Baro yow yaay toog yu sa xalaat nga xalaat ne kii laay sànnil suma karta nga jox ko so in as much as gom nañ ne yàlla daf dee dogal waaye yàlla daf ne dimbalel sa bopp ma dimbale la you have to change your situation before mu change la so yàlla is very clear yàlla duñu dee tànnal suñu njiit ñun ñoo dee tànnal suñ njiit suñ boppa so ñu bàyyi yëfi dof lu boobu di blame yàlla for things yoo xam ne is not responsible ñu ngeen ne jullit lañ yow yaa ngi dem di jël bribery nga jóg foofu dem jàppa ba seet taxaw si kanam yàlla how do you expect yàlla pour nangu la sa julli boobu o sa ñaan bi yaa ngi dem di sàcc xaalis boo xam ne aduna bi dëkk bi réew mi yëpp a ko bokka loo xam ne ñu ngi ko waroon a yu si lopitaan bi jënd garab jigéen boobu ku matu ñu ngi ko waroon a faj ci loolu waaye because yow jël nga xaalis boobu jigéen boobu ci matu bi dafay ñàkk bakkenam doom bu judduwut boobu dafay ñàkk bakkenam yow nga jàppa ba set nga ne dangay taxaw si kanami yàlla di ko ñaan o di julli naka la yàlla di nangoo sa julli boobu o sa ñaan bi yow nga nekk njiit nga taxaw si mbooloo nga xam ne óor la ne sa xol yow di nga taxaw di wax dara dégguwu ci nga wax tiituloo ragaluloo nga dem jàppa ba set nga ne yow dangay taxaw si kanam yàlla ñaan ko naka la yàlla di nangoo ñaan boobu war nañoo gëstuwaat suñu boppa parce que dëkk bi du jóg rek defar boppam ñun doomi réew mi defar dëkk bi li taali wax soo amee human capital bi soo amul alal bi sax human capital boobu mun nañoo generate xaalis mun nga am million xaalis bu dul jeex nga am nit ñu bon within a period of time xaalis boobu yëpp dafa jeex nañ ko misuse kasaara ko soo dañ war a gëstuwaat suñ boppa defaraat suñ boppa bul xool ne Daabo ñoo bokk a jógee ñaani xama ñoo jógee doobo dinaa ko sànnil karta noyen very well ne Daabo su fa nekkee du mun a yóbbu dëkk bi o waa Baro waa Basela so ñoo jógee Jimara war naa koo jox sama karta o war naa ko sutura te óor na ma ne Baro soo ko joxee dëkk bi du ko mun a yóbbu so loolu megut benn sens suñ ñëwee ñu jox la benn saaku maalo jox la xen na 5000 benn galon diwlit yow 5000 boobu soo xalaatee yow ñaata nga spend dépasse in a day nga multiply loolu by 7 days 5000 bi jeex na soo ko joxee sa carte di next 5 years kooku du la mun a even respect because soo ñëwee si moom daf laa ne ah yow man maa ngi la jox xaalis nga votal you didn't vote for me because bugga nga ma liggéeyal la man dama la jënda so therefore I owe you no obligation moo tax suñ njiit yi duñu dee respect because dañ dee allow guy jëndani nit ki soo buggee am sa baat dangay def loo xam ne moo la war jërëjëf Moustapha
I'm not so honorable. Jerejef, thanks. Mr. Bensouda is struggling with the connection. I don't know if you can hear me, Mr. Bensouda.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes.
Thank you. Nay, your final thoughts before we go.
Yeah, man dama bëgg a wax rek ne jërëjëf Mayor Bensouda, thank you so much. Jërëjëf sa time, sa patient, and also the knowledge also pour clarifier nit ñi confusion bi nekk on sa power doole yi nga am yan doole yi nga amul loo dee def loo mun a def because it's very important pour nit ñi understand because Gambia la accusations yi daf dee bari wax yi daf dee bari coow yi daf dee bari why this is why ñu am programme bi to be able to explain nit ñi basic things yi nit ñi di nekk di wax te xamuñ ko argument baa ngi bari su ko defee ngeen ñëw mun ñoo explainal nit ñi mun a understand ak ne ok lii la place bi lii la jërëjëf and you're patient and then like you've been here for more than 2 hours and you're still patient and you have a busy schedule. We see the calls as well, which is of course expected with your role and the council being ame. And then a man lima wax Gambian rek moy ne I think it's high time Gambian si ñun tam ñu do di hair ne government bi suñ revenue yi ñoo jël nañ ci jox suñ council yi suma joggé Birkama o ma joggé KMC man warna wax ne suma xaalis yi war naa sompaat war naa mun a dem si KMC because suñ ko dooru di ko xeex tamit foofu laa nekk rek government dafa def lu ko neex decide because dafa mel ni government bi deny yuñ Mayor Bensouda ñun lañ deny those who live in KMC ñoom la ñoo deny development ñoom la ñoo deny faj seen soxla yi ñoom ñoo deny solve the problem nekkut ne Mayor lañ ko def because as we can see Mayor mun naa take care of himself waaye nit ñi ñoo la ñoo xañ loo xam ne yaa fay sa tax nga feeñ war nga am part of it because lolo de nek allocation suñ ne these monies are allocated and even su allocation bi demee nit ñi demeewut nu mu waree demee council bi daf dee génn si ne xaalis bi la ma nguur gi jox doyut and then ñu oote public meeting boobu the whole council bi ñoo dee ñëw ñi fi dëkk yëpp dañoo oo meeting ngeen ñoo toog ñu discuss ko ba pare file petition to the government pour dooleel council bi because that's why people come in nit ñi di ñëw dooleel council bi woon ko fa mi ne ñun tam fii lañ dëkk waaye ànduñ si li ngeen a def so loolu laay ñaan ku nekk and then Suleiman said something that is important leadership but I will add there we need leaders that cares about people ñoo xam ne dañ care about nit ñi ba pare gom Gambian bi believe in the Gambian because ni ma dee wax all the time President Barrow I mean, difference sama yaay jame bariwul because the disrespect towards the Gambian people. So many disrespect about they all the time. Anytime President Barrow su gene to wax to the Gambian people hastela. The only time when say President Barrow gene to wax to the Gambian people and then has new and then felt like okay, nini lai waxal moy after the gala bin gene and then he came out. That was the first time when the president talk di waxal nini like nit la waxal. So low lay lifin dal man tam du wane suñu sani kata 2026 that's obvious Barrow has to go 2024 draft constitution for me is a no-go area 2020 bila nit ñi buga and just again Mayor thank you so much and yeah thank you so much for the work and then of course thank you so much for the inclusivity as well because it's very difficult Gambia is so polarized to navigate and the fact that you are able to pull, and we see it in also your support base as well, it's divergent, different people, coming in to support. That shows what you have worked into. It shows your leadership style as well, being able to bring all these people. Gambians are difficult to manage, but you managed to pull that through. Thank you so much, and we wish you all the best. And of course, our doors are open as well, as this has said. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
As Mr. Bensouda, this is the first time. Would it be the last?
No, definitely not.
You know where to find me. I know where to find you.
Exactly. Now I have all the numbers. So I'll get these numbers.
Mr. I think you've got this. Yunus Haidara is doing a lot of political campaign for you. Managala dewa Talib Alamanta Ben. I don't know.
Alamanta Ben or how
Alamanta Ben Suda. I think that's really beautiful. Because when I first started, Is he saying it right? Why when I ask, and then that's really good. I think quite honestly, as a youth, Hamga, a lot of people look up to you. You know, you got the charisma because as a leader first, you need to have that leadership charisma. Hamga, danga wara am melo kan bi bo hamne ninyi dañ la seen pale ñu ne
Honorable.
no, I'm being honest.
Honorable.
You know, man,
Yeah, campaign.
I'm a strong critic of him. If you go to my page, you can see. Understand? I say things how they
dafa
are.
mel ni Souleymane génn UDP léegi de Moustapha Yades Aziz kontaan na.
No. Why? Mom, he has the charisma. I'm going you know, haj bi doko bañ doko ne ponya wehut. Na du dega this. Maneko haj bi loko bañ doko ne ponya wehut di. So he has the charisma. I have to admit that. He's a youth. Connect now with a lot of Gambian youths. Understand? These are things you cannot deny. Why? If you have the political ambition, you don't have to say it because of X and Y. I'm not going to go in for it because there was this guy that gave this analogy. It's like you've got this chance. 2026 is a potential for you, for instance, Purunga win, make a presidential candidate and win because Gambians are looking for that alternate politician. Okay, no, I'm not going because Dabo Suma Kelifala, I'm not going to contest against Dabo. So deny them 2031. 2031, somebody else will be there. You've missed your chance. So you're not going to get it in 2031. So these are things that sometimes you have to weigh it. Because Asanjai Akchon Sek, Lolu Mune Konsen Digante, he was all the time on the chon. Bechon tuke mugena muwe, wembu mwe Khalifa. Mune garab chikaw lanyoy fekante. Because garab su moy rey du fekante si souf. Siko banghasi, siko lanyoy fekante. Te amna yo hamne, obviously, munga ko watane ci bir nek, amna yo hamne ci biti lamu aga. But these are things you have you need to think about it and you need to speak with UDP. If the potentials is there, the interest is there. Because sometimes it's also good as a party in a survey. I'm gonna get public opinion as to it's not only traditionally Davos would be always the flag bearer. Put
Honorable
a
Saul,
survey and see.
thank
No,
you
no,
for
no.
your input. Well, Leonard, thank you for your
Bang na
input.
anyway, man, I'm talking too much.
Wow,
No, no,
Suleiman,
So,
Well, Talib, we'd like to thank you for
thank you,
on
thank you,
behalf of
thanks.
all our. This is not going to be the last time here, like you said. We'll reach out to you if need be. If we need you, we will reach out to you to see if you can come and join our panel here, right? For on behalf of all the civic education team. Thanks for your time, Talib. For and on behalf of all our team here, Aziz Bojang, Suleiman Jeng, Dejobate, Bamba Kadib Mas, Alaji Sedi Barrow on holiday. Mr. Bensouda, thanks for your time. Have a good evening, all. For and on behalf of all our team here, Mustafa Jame behind the scene. Till we come your way, same place, same time on our weekly civic education program. Thank you all for it. Have a good evening. Thank you all.
you.